Every year I go for a long ride. Some have taken me to the East Coast, Mexico, or Canada. This year I traveled north and east. This is a somewhat brief summary of this year's ride. My first stop was at the Sundial Bridge at Redding. It features a 217-foot tall mast that casts a shadow, indicating the time, making it one of the largest working sundials in the world. Stop 2 was at Burney Falls, dubbed the eighth wonder of the world by President Theodore Roosevelt. The 129-foot waterfall is fed by both Burney Creek and springs. My first visit here was 45 years ago with my old riding buddy Ken, and it's just as stunning today as it was then. At the end of the day's ride, my GPS took me to a burger place in Shady Cove, Oregon. Where the heck is my motel? At the end of a long ride, I hate surprises, but once I moved on and finally found it, it turned out to be a great spot, as was dinner at their Max Diner, overlooking the river, enjoying the best beef dip sandwich I have ever had. Day 2, following a tip I got about a great diner for breakfast on Highway 62, I saw a sign for the natural bridge. Not in a big hurry, I took a short detour. Wow, wow, wow. What an amazing sight to see, and one of my best stops of the ride. The Natural Bridge near Union Creek, Oregon, is a geological formation where the Rogue River flows underground through a lava tube for a short distance. One of my longer rides of the trip, Crater Lake, was my main planned stop. A little of its history from Wikipedia. Approximately 7,700 years ago, Mount Mazama erupted violently, collapsing to form a caldera. The eruption was one of the largest in North America, leaving behind a caldera roughly 6 by 9 kilometers. From the web, while Crater Lake National Park is open year-round, the best time to see a large butterfly population is during a butterfly explosion, which occurs every 5 to 6 years. These events can happen in the summer months. I must have hit that cycle as the butterflies were as thick as a monsoon's downpour. On the third day, I traveled down Washington's Highway 12, the White Pass Scenic Byway, where I stumbled upon this beautiful Clear Creek waterfall, plunging an impressive 228 feet. Shortly after those falls, I got to test my bike's anti-lock brakes when an elk that looked just like the one on that sign crossed the road in my path. Got the heart rate up just a bit. Finding places to feed the body or the bike can be few and far between on some of America's backroads. But this gas station combo was a feast fit for a road king, and it was actually quite good, and the bike was filled with Chevron's best. On the left, Mount St. Helens, the right, the entrance to the Mount Rainier National Park. Sadly, this is about as close as I got the either, as the road to a viewing location for the volcano was washed out and time did not allow me to really explore Mount Rainier. The end of Day 3's ride brought me to my friend's home in Post Falls, Idaho. It took Ken and Debbie 5 years to build it from dirt, and it is an absolutely amazing home. Day 4 was mostly about getting close to Yellowstone, but I love old places, and if I can find a historic place to bed down, I will try to get a room there, no questions asked. This Virginia City, Montana building was built in 1866. It was close to town, and the AC and Wi-Fi worked great, but I was in for a bit of a surprise. I had just walked out the front door where I found this group on a ghost tour being told that my hotel is haunted. They all got a good chuckle out of that, and I was told what to do if confronted by the ghost. Day 5 did get me to Yellowstone, but keeping an eye on roadside signs, I saw one telling passers-by about Earthquake Lake. My interest piqued, I looped around and pulled into the visitor center's parking lot. This is the story in brief as to how this lake was formed and how it got its name. Dateline August 17, 1959, a night of terror. Chaos shatters a peaceful night. Grace Miller, who ran the Hillgard Lodge and rented out cabins where you see that massive slide in the middle of this photo, awoke that night to the strange feeling that she has to get out of her house immediately. She and her dog leap across a rapidly widening fissure brought on by a 7.3 magnitude earthquake just as her house dropped into Hebgen Lake. Jolted awake by the powerful earthquake, the roar of the landslide and blast of air, campers are dragged away by the rushing water of the Madison River, now dammed by the landslide. Not all of those in the canyon that night were that lucky. 19 campers are buried alive by the landslide. A total of 28 people lose their lives as a result of the earthquake. I cannot imagine the terror these now trapped folks must have felt. To those that did not survive, may you rest in peace. Yellowstone Day 1, such an incredible place. Words cannot really describe it, and it's easy to see why it became America's first national park. The park, which was established on March 1, 1872, holds the distinction of being the first national park in the United States and is widely considered the first in the world. It was created to protect the region's unique geothermal features, abundant wildlife, and stunning landscapes. Prior to its establishment, the area was inhabited by Native Americans for thousands of years, and their history is deeply intertwined with the land. On day 2 at Yellowstone, I rode the Grand Loop Road around the park, hiking down to the lower Yellowstone Falls viewing area, as well as that of the upper falls. Absolutely stunning beauty, and awesome to say the very least. From here I made it to Old Faithful just in time to watch its magnificence. I got to say that the Earth is just such an amazing place. On day 7, I start my ride home, hoping to find interesting places along the way, which were provided this day by Google Maps. Starting with the Snake River Canyon and Shoshone Falls near Twin Falls, Idaho, that was formed by a combination of geological events including volcanic activity, tectonic shifts, and the erosive power of the Snake River itself. It also just happens to be the place where evil Knievel attempted to jump the Snake River Canyon in a failed attempt to rocket across the canyon on September 8, 1974, using a steam-powered skycycle. Knievel launched the Skycycle X2 from a ramp on the canyon's south rim. However, the parachute deployed prematurely, causing the vehicle to descend into the canyon instead of making it across. Evil survived, but this was to be his final jump attempt. On the 8th and final day, I bring you a Highway 50 love story. Many decades ago, a newlywed couple was returning home, traveling eastbound on Highway 50 after being married at a Reno wedding chapel. While traveling this lonely highway, the couple got into their very first argument and pulled over on the side of the road, next to an outcropping of trees. In protest, the hot-tempered woman proclaimed that she would rather walk home. The man retorted with telling her that if she wanted to walk home, she could do it barefoot, then proceeded to grab her shoes and toss them up on the nearest tree. The man angrily jumped in his car and blasted off down the highway, leaving his new bride alongside the road to follow through with her threat of walking home. He pulled over at the first bar he encountered and began drowning his sorrows. Lucky for him and his new wife, an upstanding bartender convinced him to return to her in an attempt to make up. He did just that. They managed to work out their sorrows and lived happily ever after. From that point on, the couple returned to the tree on their anniversary each year, tossing a celebratory pair of shoes around the same exact tree as an emblem of their unwavering love for each other. I want to thank all who had tuned in along this year's 8-day, 3,000-mile journey for your suggestions, comments, and responses. It truly did make the ride all that much more enjoyable. Thank you for watching.